Were you at, like, because when you're in med school, you're still young, right? You don't have life all figured out. Right?
You don't. You definitely don't. And honestly, at that time, you know, when you're 22 to 26, as I was going straight from college, and so many people, there's so many friends who are in finance or whatever it is, making money, taking trips, you know, and you're kind of like, I'm kind of studying for the next month. What are you doing? Oh, you're going where? Oh, that's fun. But the good news is everyone gets it in time, and now I'm, you know, doing those things now. It's just a little bit delayed. But there are certainly times, especially when you're doing poorly, if you did, you know, badly on a test and you're wondering, oh my gosh, am I cut out for this? And there's a lot of self-doubt. And that's what I tell a lot of young people who are wanting to go to medical school. Like, while you're in it, you're going to say, why am I doing this? A few times, and especially as your friends start getting paychecks, success, trips, marriage, whatever it is. And you might not be doing that, but we all know now in our wisdom that everyone is running their own race. And you got to just, you know, find your path, continue it if you think it's right for you, and stick with it through hardships.
Well, that's where I was going with that, is like, you know, you've committed, right? You've committed to this career that's not, you just don't call audibles, like, after you've got this debt, right, from med school. It's like you are committed, right? And so, you know, that could be kind of scary for, you know, a young, like, adolescents that still, their brain isn't fully developed yet, right? Because you're not developed until you're like 26. Did any of your friends from med school not pursue it after they graduated? Did any of them say, hey, you know what, this is not for me. I really want to be an entrepreneur, or I really want to do something different? You know,
you meet a handful. I think it's happening more and more where people will finish med school and then realize, you know, just with that education, there's a lot you can do in consulting or helping out a large corporation with just a very specific niche. So there are a lot of opportunities for those who don't want to practice medicine. For me, it was like, I made it all the way through. Now it's time to do a residency. It's time to practice and you know, finally get to do my real adult job. You know, I'm coming out at age 29. You know, finally getting my first real job out of residency
at 29. It's like, wow, right?
Yeah, and that's just me, who had 3 years of residency and then 1 year as chief resident at Children's Hospital. But some residents have, you know, 5-6 years plus a fellowship, you know, another 3 years. So there's some people who don't start their job till their mid-30s, their adult job, if you will, until their mid-30s. So it's an interesting career path. But once you're there and you have all this expertise, you have all this knowledge, it's really helpful. And especially, again, going back, everything for me goes back to the pandemic because it's all I've done for 2 years. Just being able to help, you know, interpret data, or again, guide parents or guide families with good information.
So now, while you're in med school, do you have to choose, like, I want to be a dermatologist, I want to be a pediatrician, I want to be a brain surgeon, right? Like, how do you start to like pick the career path that you like to go down?
Well, certainly for me, pediatrics was always sort of like, hey, that could do that. But there is a thought process you have to go through. And for me, it was, do I want to be a surgeon or a doctor? And after a few days on the surgery rotation, I realized I'm going to be a medical doctor. I'll do more prescribing than cutting.
Okay.
And then the question was adults or kids. And I thought I wanted to be an ophthalmologist, and I spent a couple months doing ophthalmology and realized, oh, I don't need a stethoscope for this? That's odd. I've always been told you need a stethoscope.
But this is in residency, not med school.
No, this is in medical school.
Oh, so this is in med school. Okay.
And so then when the decision came, do I take care of adults or take care of kids, the decision for me came down to feet and poop, in that children and babies, really, much cuter feet and way more tolerable poop. So that's how I came to be a pediatrician in the end.
Got it. So now I always wondered that, right? I always wondered that, like, you know, like.
It's a process. So the beauty of medical school is in third year, you do a few rotations of everything. So when you graduate, even though I'm a pediatrician, I spent 2 months on a surgical floor. We do a couple months of emergency room medicine. We see intensive care units. We see psychiatry units. You know, so we learn a little bit of everything, and we see a lot and learn a lot about pathologies of adults, of children, of humans.
I see.